you guys. All right, welcome officially, you guys, to September's VBM. We're so excited that you can be here. My name is April Williams. I am half of East to West. Jason, my friend, you want to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Jason. I am the East in the East to West. I had gastric sleeve surgery March 11th of 2020, down 190 pounds since then, and just glad to be here with you guys this evening and try to get back to basics with Tish, because Tish is pre-op. So welcome, Tish. So we'll try to get you what the basics that you need to be able to be successful whenever it's time for you to go.
Yes, we got you. We got you, friends. And the one and only Miss Michaela Miller, Losing to Blooming, is here. Hi, Michaela.
Hi, guys. Can you see me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Hi, everybody.
Yep.
I don't know. Am I supposed to tell my my introduction or no?
Give a really brief. Yeah.
Okay.
Only from age 5 forward.
Age 5 forward. Okay, so BSG 5 years ago, May of 2016, started at 300 pounds. I'm now somewhere around 150. I don't know. I don't weigh myself anymore. But yeah, and I'm now a bariatric coach, certified personal trainer, nutrition coach, weight loss specialist. So that's me.
And some of our most favorite episodes and the most mind-blowing, aha moments for me came from Michaela. So she is a wealth of information. We are so thrilled that we get to call her a friend and that she is here tonight with us, because we're going to learn a ton from her. So if this is your first VBM, we always go over some ground rules. If you are coming back and visiting, nothing has changed. Our mission with these virtual bariatric meetups is to support the bariatric community with humor, humility, and honesty. We want to destigmatize weight loss surgery. We want to grow a community for and of bariatric patients. And we are here to share our ideas and experiences that add value to our lives as bariatric patients. That's literally why we do this. Some very quick ground rules. We're always going to assume best intent. We're going to share what you are comfortably publicly sharing, because this is recorded. We're not here to sell you anything at all. We ask for no nudity, no violence, no isms. You guys, if you have known me for a while, you know that swearing is probably my first language, but we'll try to keep the foul language in check. And as always, this is not medical advice. This is just patients getting together to share patient experiences. Always consult your doctor before you change anything in your medical good stuff. I think that was the quickest I've ever done that. I mean, you guys know me, right? Yeah, I'm super excited about that.
That's pretty good. I got to give it to you.
Thank you. All right, you guys, our agenda for tonight, we're going to talk about the bariatric basics. I totally forgot to do these. Sorry. It's been a busy week. We're going to talk about bariatric basics. We're going to talk about movement basics. And then we're just going to open the floor to help. If you need support in the moment, we are here for you. And then we're going to briefly look ahead and we'll wrap it up for the evening. All right, let's do this. Let's dive right in, my friends. Boop, boop. So bariatric basics. You've probably heard us say this a million times, but we want to make sure that we are all on the same page. It's more than just the macros, right? It's more than just the protein, the fat, and the carbs. For us at East to West, and what Jason and myself and Michaela have really kind of made a part of our journey is that there are kind of 3 buckets of bariatric basics: movement, mindset, and metabolic wellness, right? We need all 3 of these things to find success in our lives after bariatric surgery. We think we have a really unique definition of movement, one that applies to all of us. So when we are talking about movement, what we're talking about is this intentional movement that is above and beyond our daily activities, right? So if we have very limited mobility, let's say we have a difficult time getting up out of a chair, let's say, movement for us is going to be the work that we're doing to become more mobile. If we are like gym rat now, like Jason and Michaela, that movement is going to be kind of above and beyond that daily thing, right? For me, I haven't done any movement. So just taking long walks with my dog Stella is what movement looks like for me now. So when we're talking about movement, movement is is where we are now, not where we were before surgery, and not necessarily where we want to go. It's what we're capable of now. So when Michaela really presents her movement basics, please use that as your lens of understanding. We're not talking about some crazy like workout routine. Nope, we're just saying movement is above and beyond what's normal for us. Okay. Mindset is just simply how we think, or how we're thinking about things along our bariatric journey. It's the things that we say to ourselves and others, both actually say or that we internally say to each other. I don't know about you guys, but I have about 10,000 conversations with myself every single day, right? I don't think I'm alone here. And just by a quick show of hands, how many of us have not so pleasant conversations with ourselves every single day? Oh, we're not alone. Weird. Didn't see that one coming. The goal of mindset is that we recognize when we're saying these not so pleasant things to ourselves, or we're saying things to ourselves that don't get us to that growth mindset. And growth mindset is very simple. It basically means that you acknowledge that you can change your thinking. That's growth mindset. And we're here to say that growth mindset is real and that we can achieve it. And if you are like Rob and I, if you are in education, you've heard this term 8,000 times and you probably want to stab eyes out. But we know how important it is, especially when we're exactly, Rob, right? We know how important this is, especially when we're working with our students, right? It is important, and we do have to acknowledge that we can change what we say to each other. And it's probably the most powerful tool that we can use along our bariatric journey, for real. And then the very last thing is metabolic wellness. Kind of an interesting word. If you guys have not listened to our episodes with Dr. Ariel Ortiz, highly recommend you do so. That and this gold nugget from Michaela of happy, healthy weight is what has freed Jason, Natalie, and I from the scale in a lot of ways. But when we're talking about metabolic wellness as being one of our pillars, our goals, what we're saying is that our goal is to not have these indicators or markers of metabolic disease, right? So we're trying to get away from hypertension, right? High blood pressure, high cholesterol, all of these things that kind of lead to these bigger diseases like heart disease, right? Kidney failure, all these kind of very scary things that can end our lives early. If we focus on metabolic wellness, we're consuming foods and we're taking actions that promote metabolic wellness and that help us move away from these metabolic diseases. So it can be tracking. It can be the food that we eat. It can be what we choose to consume, how we talk to our doctors, right? All of these things really kind of come together in our bariatric lives to make this amazing experience for us. And it helps us get away from numbers on the scale, right? Or on our clothes. And it helps us get to this point in our lives where we find and maintain our happy, healthy weight, which is key. So when we talk about bariatric basics, this is what we're talking about. Okay, that was a crap ton of information. Any thoughts, any ahas, any, I never thought about it that way, or any comment that you'd like to make when it comes to these bariatric basics? And I hope you guys know, as a teacher, I can wait you all out. I do this for a living. And I will wait y'all out.
Or we'll start calling on people, the random calling.
It's so, yeah. Oh, Karen, yay, hi, Karen.
So I'm just coming up next week on 1 year post Roux-en-Y, and it's been great, but that discussion last weekend in the symposium about the honeymoon coming to a close, it's happening, and I know that. And so the metabolic wellness part stands out to me because I had a couple of surprising changes in my lab work. I had it done yesterday, surprising changes that I didn't want to see necessarily. But I also, because of the work that I've started to do, is that I know that a part of it certainly is diet, that I have struggled getting, in particular, vegetables back in. Fruit seems to be a-okay, but and when I looked up it's the LDL that went up, and I'm really not happy about that. But you know, it was a big enough change that, and then when I looked it up, it said, here are the 17 foods that you need to help your LDL, and most of it was vegetables. And the other thing, of course, is exercise. Because I remember prior to surgery, my primary care doctor said, the only reason your numbers stay pretty good is because you exercise like crazy. Until I couldn't, you know, who hasn't been there until, you know, it ended up being, no, can't move anymore. So anyway, I have my appointments next week, and I'm sure going to discuss with them about that. And
Yep.
do I need to hyperventilate about it, or can I, you know, I mean, I know I have things to work on and to change. So this is just all very timely. So
it is. And
great.
the really nice thing too, Karen, about knowing your numbers is now you have data. And once you know what your baseline is, you can make a game plan moving forward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super powerful. Very powerful.
You know, no more pre-diabetes. So that's good.
Oh yeah. I think we can all, every single one of us has a health condition that we were staring down the barrel at before bariatric surgery. And all of us have been able to go, oh my God, that it might still be there in the background, but it's not front and center.
Yeah.
And I think, right. And now that we are armed with these tools, more energy, more brain capacity, we have that distance between food and us. It gives us the ability to really tackle these metabolic issues head, you know, just full force. So
sure. Yeah.
Excellent. So, thank you for sharing, Karen.
You're welcome.
Woo woo. All right, you guys. So let's dive into, how do we actually get back to basics? It can feel overwhelming because, right, as we all know, there's like, oh my God, there's so much to do now that I'm a bariatric patient, right? I've got macros to worry about. I got movement, I have mindset, I've got calories, and I've got protein and water, right? Like, we're here to say that there is a way to kind of back away from all of that and just take a very micro-focused approach to getting back to basics. We can simply say, okay, what is most critical right now for my long-term success? Identify one thing that you're like, okay, I have been horrible with this, but if I don't do this, it's really going to hurt me in a bad way. So we can pick one thing and we can go, the world is on fire, but I can only do this one thing. We can identify that one thing. And then we can plan on a solution for that one thing, right? So for me this month, it was, I'm a little bit of an overachiever, but it was water, vitamins, and tracking one meal. I could handle 3 things. So what was my plan to automate those? What was my plan to say, okay, no matter what, I'm going to do these things so that I can meet this one goal. And then the third thing that we need to do is reflect along that process. So is my plan working, right? Is it actually doing what I wanted it to do? Do I have the evidence, right? Do I have the evidence? I'm grabbing my tracker. Do I have the evidence that my plan is working and that I am actually achieving that goal? And if not, then what am I going to tweak, right? Then I go back to step 2. Well, that I had this idea about how I was going to get my vitamins in. It's not working. So what can I tweak to get me closer to reaching this goal? Have you guys ever thought about getting back to basics in this lens or in this way? Or has it, in the past, have you just kind of been like, I have to do all the things, and then you did all the things and it didn't work? I see a lot of heads nodding.
April, it's Angie.
Hi, Fred.
Hi. I was totally an all or nothing person for the last 20 years. And that really helped me get to 402 pounds, you know? So I think that when we take things in smaller pieces and realize that it's progress, not perfection all the time, and that's what I'm doing different this time. And that's what is different about this time. I'm a data person, so yes, I do weigh every day. I track everything, but that's just how my brain works. I also make a ton of lists and stuff like that. But to me, it's fun for me. I like doing that. And if the scale doesn't move for a few weeks, I've got that data to go look back on. But, if I eat a half of a crumble cookie, I'm not beating myself up for it. But, in turn, I'm like, well, maybe I'll make sure I get a little bit of extra activity in today or things like that, and so I'm not beating myself up over those smaller things. I'm actually enjoying them a little bit here and there in moderation and actually being able to live life. But just that whole, it's a few bites of a crumble cookie, not 3 of them, or
Yeah.
it's moderation and learning those little things. It's not all or nothing.
Only
Yep.
the people that have never had a crumble cookie would never understand.
Yeah, don't.
Right. It is a balance, and we very much are alike in so many ways, right? It's all or nothing. I have to do all the things, and as soon as that one thing messes up, I'm a failure, and that is our excuse, right? That is our in to go do these behaviors that make us comfortable. But for so many years, comfortable actually made us uncomfortable. Comfortable kept us at a weight that was not healthy for us and prevented us from doing life. So the whole kind of gist of life after bariatric surgery is we have to try things that we've never tried before. We have to do things in a way that we've never done it before. And for a lot of us, these 3 very simple steps, we've probably never actually done, right? Identify the one thing, come up with a very simple plan to help you automate that one thing, and then check in with how you're doing daily and adjust, right? Don't throw out the baby with the bathwater. Just say, this isn't working. What can I tweak?
And I think one more thing I'd like to add, April, is I think for me, progress, when I make progress, I am out of my comfort zone. And so progress happens for me when I'm uncomfortable. And I need to realize, it's okay to be uncomfortable. Nobody died from going to CrossFit, and for me, those are the things I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone and do things like that. And like walking into, like this weekend, I walked into Anthropologie in downtown Portland and bought a dress right off the rack for my daughter's wedding in a few weeks. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I had the all or nothing attitude, if I wasn't trying to get out of my comfort zone. And it's not easy every day. There are days when I mess up, there's days when I overeat, but it's just that never giving up and knowing that it's okay to not be perfect. But damn, it felt good walking into Anthropologie and buying something off the rack.
See, that's
damn,
awesome.
girl.
It's getting comfortable in the uncomfortability, because like you had said, making uncomfortable decisions. I mean, our surgery, having the decision or making the decision to have the surgery was an uncomfortable decision to make, and it was an uncomfortable move. So when you get comfortable in that situation, that's like you said, when changes get made. So that's really where you want to stay more of, kind of err towards that side of the uncomfortability of it to continue in your progress. But the not beating yourself up about it and changing your mindset is amazing just to do on your own. That's something that you wouldn't have been able to do pre-op. So you have to reward yourself for that. That's part of that small win category we talk about. Reward yourself for every win that you have, regardless of the size of the win. It's still a win.
Truth. So I just want to walk through this very quickly with you guys to see how it works in real life, this 1, 2, 3 plan. So identify what is most critical for your long-term success right now. For me, it was vitamins. Okay, so I need to take my vitamins consistently. And then I made a plan for how I was going to automate those things. I literally took a bottle of my vitamins and I take Paravita and I split the bottle up. And I put half upstairs in my bedroom right next to my nightstand, and I put half right next to my fridge. So in the morning, I take one before I even go downstairs, first win of the day. And then every time I go to my fridge, I look at that vitamin and I put 2 out every single day. When it's lunchtime, I take one. And when it's dinner time, I take the last one. And when they're all gone, I'm done. And you guys look, I don't know if you guys can see this, but there's a lot of check marks on that tracker. And that is progress. That is me reflecting and going, is this working? Is this not? And that's not perfect, but that's progress, right? So if I looked at that tracker and I did not have a lot of check marks off, then I need to reflect on why. And then I need to go back and think about my plan, and I need to change what I'm doing until I find something that sticks. That make sense?
Well, and it's honesty too. You have to have a lot of honest conversations with yourself as to why, because, you know, like we've all said, we're the world's best salesman when it comes to selling ourselves on why we can or can't do something. So that's, you know, that's where you really have to get raw with yourself and say, I didn't track it because I don't want to know what the hell I ate today. Or you know what you ate that day, you just don't want anybody else to know what you ate that day. So that's where the issues really come in.
Yep, absolutely. So what do we do when we don't feel like doing it anymore? I think we're all there, right? I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of this. This is driving me crazy. We've got 2 big suggestions: make edits and then enlist your mindset. So the key thing about making edits, don't throw out your whole plan, because your whole plan is not bad. Your goal is great, right? The thing that you want to focus on is excellent. Your execution is what needs tweaking, right? So really reflect on, why do I need to do this? Because you're not a stupid person. You know exactly why you need to do it, right? So reinvest in your why. Keep trying different ways and different strategies until something fits, right? It's like the Goldilocks thing. You got to keep trying out a bunch of things until you find that perfect fit. And that perfect fit is out there for you. Just don't give up, right? So there's some suggestions for you at the bottom of that slide, right? About things that you might be saying to yourself, but how you could make a quick adjustment. And then really enlist your mindset, right? We have to check what we're saying to ourselves. If we're saying something like, oh, I could just never be a morning person, or I just can't get in these vitamins, then that is the truth. And that will be your living truth moving forward. But if you make a simple change and you say, I will become a morning person, I am a morning person, right? I will get my vitamins in. That little tweak is a tool that you can use against your old brain to help you get to be where you want to be, right? You speak your future into existence. So what future are you speaking to yourself? Is it the one that you want? Right? We really have to be aware of what we're saying. Does anybody feel like sharing maybe the future that you're speaking to yourself now and how you want to change that? Or have you guys been really focusing on your mindset this month, and have you been changing what you're saying to yourself? Ooh, go for it, Karen. Yeah.
So like I said, I'm coming up on a year. I have my appointments next week, and I am a grazer, and it's coming back, and it's problematic. But you know, I was sitting here as you were talking, and I thought, you know, okay, I'm going to work on grazing in the morning, or on not grazing, you know, and practice that for a while. And then I can move on to another time. And like I said, it's not always going to be perfect. I mean, I know that, but I'll tell you one thing I'm going to do with that dietitian appointment next week is she's going to ask me for 2 days of what I ate. And I'm going to give her a really nice day, and I'm going to give her a grazing day.
Smart.
And,
Smart.
you know, honesty, right?
Oh,
So
isn't that
that's what I'm going to do next week, a week from today. So
one of my favorite things to say is, we can't change what we don't track.
yeah.
And that is spot on. Tiffany, go for it, Fred.
Hi, everybody. This is my first time being here. I'm so happy.
Welcome.
Thank you. I have been really down on myself. I've had about a 40-pound regain. And my mindset, I'm just being honest, it sucked, because in my head, I'm already like, you're a failure, you're going to regain everything. And so how do you flip that back?
Okay, Jason, then Michaela. I can't see Michaela on my screen. Michaela's got some bomb-ass advice for this. So does Jason.
Yeah, I know basically how I had to view it myself when it came to the failure aspect of things is you're only a failure at weight loss surgery when you stop trying. When you decide, you get up that day and you're like, man, this isn't for me. I can't do it. I'm not going to do it anymore. There's no way I can possibly continue the way I've been doing. Then that's the only time you have failed. So basically what has happened in this situation is you've just lost your way a little bit. You're off the trail. The trail's still here. You know what you did to get where you were before the 40-pound regain. You just have to find your way back to the trail. That comes with, like April said, with tracking, taking small wins. So even if you were to attack tomorrow with, I'm just going to get my water in. So that's kind of the back to basics situation we're talking about. So start tomorrow and just get up and say, hey, today I'm getting my, 40 ounces or 60 ounces of water in today, and I'm not stopping until that's done. So tomorrow, maybe you only win water. So you got one win in, that's going to be easier for the next day. So the next day you say, okay, well, water's no problem now. Well, now I'm just going to work on my vitamins. So then you start getting your vitamins in. Then the next day after that, you're like, well, my protein goal is kind of this. So I'm going to make sure that I get my protein goal in. So what you're doing is you're just basically setting the building blocks in place for you to be able to step back onto the path that you need to be on. And it's really, honestly, you have to think of yourself in terms of you're a toddler. You wouldn't expect a 1-year-old to be fluent in Spanish. You're 1 year out of surgery. I mean, you're a year post-op. However far out, like I'm 18 months post-op, and I don't know half of what I'm supposed to know. And it's just because we're still during the process, we're learning to fill our toolbox with the tools we need to be able to continue on. So that's why you kind of, we like to say here, give yourself space and grace, the kind of the space to know and the grace to not be so hard on yourself. It's okay to not know things, but as long as you're seeking out the answers, like you showed up here. So you already know that's one step out of the way. You're already one win in. But the thing about being so hard on yourself is nobody wins the day at breakfast. You don't win you're not going to win 2022 in January. You're not going to be like, man, I got this year licked, and it's only halfway through January. You would never say that to yourself. So you have to kind of approach everything with that same mindset of, even if you were to do really good at breakfast, but you slipped at lunch, your whole day's not ruined because you still have dinner you can make up for it. And you still have tomorrow that you can reset and do other things. So to just, be so bogged down on yourself and say, well, now I'm 40 pounds back up again. There's no way I can get out from under this. And that's just not the case. The case is you need to rely on the tools that got you where you were. And your support system is also a very big thing. Because if there's nobody around you and you remove yourself from the community, it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind type things. Like you're not thinking about it. You're not worried about it because there's really nobody to hold you accountable. So that's why we're here. We want everybody in here. So you've got somebody to talk to. Anytime you need to reach out, that's why we've built the community that we've built, because we want you guys to have somebody to reach out to in those hard moments and say, look, things are really struggling. I feel like I'm about to fall off the rails. And, we're not going to be judgmental about it and say, well, you screwed up now, and now we got to do all this work to get you back. Like, that's not the way. What we're here to do is we're just, we're going to be that guiding hand to the side you don't really see that just kind of pushes you back up on the path that you need to be on. So, I mean, that's honestly what it is just the space and grace to give yourself the chance to learn what you don't.
Thank you, my friend. Michaela, did you step away or are you still in here?
I'm here. Sorry, I had to go grab my water, but I'm back now. I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Yay! So did you hear the question? Did you hear the struggle from Tiffany?
I missed the question, but I think I've kind of, from everything that Jason said, someone is struggling with regain. Is that?
Yes,
okay?
That's it, friend.
So what I would say, and it's kind of something that has already been touched on in here, mindset. Mindset is so important. Honestly, your mindset on this journey is going to determine your success. So if you struggle with regain and you allow yourself to feel like a failure and feel like you have lost control and there is no going back, you're just going to continue to spiral. You're just going to continue down this negative hole and you're going to continue to spiral. So we need to find a way to stop that panic and stop that failure mindset and realize, you know, okay, I've lost the weight once, I can lose the weight again. I know what I need to do. But there's also a couple of things I would ask with regain. You know, it could be a part of it, maybe not all of it, but a part of that regain could be that your lowest weight, whatever that weight is that you got down to, actually isn't your best weight. It's not your most maintainable weight. So I think that is something that you need to kind of think on and evaluate as you start losing the weight again. Something else to think on and evaluate is while you were losing the weight and while you were getting down to your lowest weight, were you going to any extremes? Were you restricting major food groups out of your diet? Were you working out like crazy to get down to this low weight and that wasn't maintainable? So you, once it was time to maintain, you struggled to maintain your weight. And typically what happens then is we can't maintain it. We're constantly fighting the scale because it's so hard to maintain that, I would almost say, unrealistic weight for ourselves. And so then we get tired, we get burnt out, and we start going backwards. So those are just a couple of things that I would kind of reflect on as you start going back to the basics, which is what this is all about. Going back to the basics, just getting refocused, back on program, but make sure that you're doing it in a maintainable way. Make sure that you're doing it in a smart way and in a way that's realistic for you, and that isn't going to send you back into this cycle. Because if we're going to extremes and if we're doing the all or nothing mindset, that's where that yo-yo comes in, and we're just going to be constantly fighting that. So don't panic. Don't, know that you can overcome this regain. You just have to, like I said, refocus, get restarted, get back to the basics. I love April's tip of like, choose 3 things to focus on, or maybe even just one thing to focus on to start out with. And then build from there. And as you're going, reflect on maybe what is the most realistic weight for you? What is the most maintainable weight for you? Where do you feel your best? Really dial into how you're feeling along the way.
Yeah, and I think, and I said it in the chat, and I will screen this for the rest of my life. We don't know how to live at a happy, healthy weight. We don't. We are all here because we don't know what we're doing. Honestly, we don't. We go through this amazing honeymoon phase where we are doing the work, right? We're eating less, we're hitting our macros, we're focusing on our mind. We are doing the work, right? And then we get to this low weight and we bounce up. And then we go, oh my God, I clearly don't know what I'm doing, because the evidence is I don't know what I'm doing because my weight bounced back up again, right? So then you go into this, oh my God, I am a failure. What was I thinking? Blah, blah, blah. That's your old brain coming at you because it doesn't like to be uncomfortable. And it's very uncomfortable at a low weight because it's never been there before, or it doesn't remember it. It's very uncomfortable because you are not relying on food to get through the crappy parts of life, which is basically every day, right? Like all of these things. So you are welcome, my friend, to the work of weight loss surgery. It sucks. It's the worst, but it's also the best, because we now have the capacity and the ability and the community and the beginning of our toolbox to figure it out. So this is, do not beat yourself up over this. I literally showed this slide because I wanted you guys to know. Look at this. See that cycle? This is change. This is the change cycle. Do you see how relapse is a part of the change cycle? It's a part of it. It's supposed to happen. Mind blown, right? So you are in the circle, my friend. So now there's where you need to go. Pre-contemplation. What? Wait, Dave, you're actually already there. You're actually in contemplation and you're moving into preparation because you want to make a change.
But April, I have a question. Maybe it's for you or Michaela or Jason. How do you know, like, when you're at a good, sustainable, maintainable, you can maintain it healthy weight? How do you know when you're there versus, like, is it regain or, like, I mean, I wouldn't know.
I have an idea. I'm gonna let Michaela answer first. That's a really good question, Angie. One that we all struggle with.
So honestly, it takes time to figure that out. You're not going to know right away. There are some people that lose all the weight. They get down, you know, I'm just going to like throw random numbers out there. They get down to 150 pounds and 150 pounds feels good and they're able to stay at that. That's maintainable for them. They're fine. What you need to realize is the weight you maintain is representative of the lifestyle you are willing to live. So whatever your weight is going to be, it's going to be indicative of what you're doing to maintain that. So the food, how many calories you're willing to eat, the activity that you're doing. So for me personally, I'll just kind of give my story. My lowest weight was 135. Again, I started at 300. When I got down to 135 pounds, at that point in my journey, I was still only eating around like 1,200 calories a day, possibly even a little less than that because I was still kind of losing. I was working out like 2 times a day. I was like running in the mornings. I was doing strength training in the evenings. And at that time, like, that felt good to me. I was like super excited about all these things. And I didn't feel like I was burning myself out. But as I evolved on my fitness journey and some of my goals started to change, I wanted to work more on strength. I wanted to build muscle. Also, my hunger started coming back. I heard someone mention grazing, that they're 1 year out and they're struggling with grazing. That can be a huge indicator that it is time to start looking at increasing your calories. Because this is what happens. If you don't intentionally increase your calories will increase themselves by grazing, mindless eating, etc. We're not supposed to eat like 1,000 to 1,200 calories for the rest of our lives. Eventually, we do have to find our maintenance level with calories in a planned way, an intentional way, so that we don't gain weight. But for me, I realized, like, okay, I'm hungry all the time. I don't want to do all this cardio anymore. I want to change my goals. And I wanted to be able to eat more. So I was willing to gain a little bit of weight to do that, to put on muscle, because to put on muscle, you have to eat more food and you have to lift weights. I also was noticing with me changing my workout style, I didn't have the energy, like staying at those low calories, burning myself out the way I was working out so much. I was fried. I didn't have the energy. My immune system was shot. Like, it just was not a healthy weight and kind of a healthy lifestyle for me. So I could have said, I've had people ask me, did you have to gain weight back when I say that I, went up to my happy weight, which is around 150. I've had people ask, like, does everyone have to regain, or could you have stayed at your lower weight? Yeah, I could have stayed at that 135 if I was willing to do that. If I was willing to keep up that high level of activity every day, if I was willing to keep my calories that low, I could have stayed at that lower weight. I wasn't willing to do that. That wasn't fun for me, was not a good look. So and the regain was hard, whether it is healthy and intentional regain or whether it's unintentional regain. It's hard. Gaining weight is hard, and the scale will mess with you, and it will make you feel like such a failure. That's a big reason why I personally have decided to step away from the scale. But ultimately, I'm rambling at this point. Ultimately, it takes time to find your happy weight, and only you can know what that is. You have to get in tune with yourself and how you're feeling, your energy levels, how you feel about your image, your reflection in the mirror, how you're feeling about your workouts, your performance, all of those things, your health markers, you know, your labs and stuff like that. You're the only one that can determine what a happy weight is for you. For me, around 150 pounds is much more easily maintained than a lower 135. So that's where I feel comfortable staying. It's not a number. That's the other thing. It shouldn't be a number that you feel like you have to fight. Like if you feel like you're constantly fighting this number, then that's probably not the best number.
You know, because I think what's so powerful about this is really what you've said so many times, Michaela. It's what you're willing to do. So it's okay, right? Like this is where I experience joy and I feel alive in my life. But it's also where that work of weight loss surgery kind of butts up to it, right? Because we're always going to have this rub now, because the work of weight loss surgery is never going to end. Michaela's 5 years out, she's still doing it. I'm 2 years out, I'm still doing it. I know people who are 20 years out and they're still doing it. So this is just the work of our life. But we want this pressure of work to be equally met with the joy of life, right? So we are trying to find that balance. And I know that gets annoying, and everybody's like, you just got to find the balance. But it's true, because for so long in our lives, we were fighting against this, right? We didn't have this balance. And we now have the joy, the luxury of really discovering what that balance is for us, right? My weight has gone up. You guys know I'm up 10 or 12 pounds. And it was because I just went ham this summer. I stopped caring about what I ate. I was drinking way too much. I was eating too much, and my weight went up. And that wasn't comfortable for me. And that was my indicator of, oh, I don't feel good. So now I need to do more work of weight loss surgery to get back to that weight where I can have a drink or two or three some weekends. I can have a slice of pizza, a burger, whatever, right? I can make these food decisions, but it's not going to throw me off. So very long answer, but it's so hard to describe because it is so different for everybody. Andrew,
I will say I have had it 5 years out, you know, took me a while to find my happy weight. I feel like the weight I gained to get there, I'm going to call like healthy regain, intentional regain to get to my happy weight. Since I've been at my happy weight though, you guys, in the last 3.5 years, I've had other regains. I go through periods in the year, and that's going to happen. And we have to stop looking at regain as this like panic inducing thing, because then that's what causes this like yo-yo cycle. You know, your weight's going to fluctuate throughout the year. Literally, I'm going into fluffy season right now. This happens. It's like clockwork for me. I know fall and winter, that's my fluffy season. It's okay. I'm not worried about it. I know not to panic about it anymore, like I would have before weight loss surgery. That would have sent me into a panic, downward spiral, gaining more and more weight, you know, the all or nothing mindset. For me now, I've learned to manage it my best, still enjoy my time over the holidays. And then I know that I get, you know, more strict after the holidays, and it comes back off. Like, to almost like I've learned to look at it more logically instead of so emotionally when it comes to weight fluctuations, weight regain. You know, 10 pounds here or there, it's going to happen. Don't freak out. Don't panic. Know that it's fixable. It'll come back off. Because literally the worst thing you can do is panic when that happens, going to extremes and then you're just stuck on the cycle.
I
Well, yeah,
think-
because then you're just back to your old ways, right? Then you're just back to that old mindset of, and that's exactly what we're trying to avoid. Did I just cut somebody off? Who did I
I
cut
think
off?
it's just learning how to trust yourself too. You know, I'm 14 months out, and like Michaela's 5 years out. So she's got a little bit of time equity in there, knowing that if she's going into her fluffy season, she knows she hits January or whatever, and the game's back on. And for some of us, it's like, okay, do we have what it takes to do what Michaela just did, you know? And I know that I do, but it's always that little voice going, you know, have you really changed, Angie? Have you really changed? You know, and it's like, I got a kick out of Rob's video the other day when he was saying, you know, the thing about 1,200 calories, you know, and that was totally me. I'm like, there are days when I can eat 17 or 1,800 calories, and those days freak me out, you know? And so, yeah, it's just trusting ourselves, I think.
But
And
Angie,
that takes
there's a perfect mindset shift for you. It's ridiculous that we do not give ourselves the benefit of the doubt because we have changed. Even if we don't consciously recognize it, we have changed. There is no denying it because you look in the mirror and we are changed. So if we keep telling ourselves, oh, I haven't changed, bullshit. We have to start telling ourselves, I have changed, and find one truthful nugget, because we all got it. Because we do. That is a huge piece of the head work that we have to do with weight loss, because we never trusted ourselves ever.
Well, it's
And I would
hard
say-
because it's the credit aspect of it too. We have always thought so negatively about ourselves because we were unhappy with the space that we were in. It's hard for us to shift now that we've made those changes and actually give ourselves any kind of credit. That's why we talk about so hard about celebrating even the smallest wins, because we won't do that to ourselves. We won't do that for ourselves. And that's some of the biggest steps we've got to take to make our journey just even the littlest bit easier, is starting to celebrate and give ourselves that credit, because we have done those things. We have made changes. We have done things that are actually positive, and we can do it again. But yeah, I mean, it just takes that time to be able to trust ourselves to do it.
Go for it, Michaela. You're going to say something.
Oh, I was just gonna say, first of all, like, trust takes time. Again, 5 years out, that was not something, trusting myself was not something I learned or really knew in the first couple of years. Like, this is just something really here in the last couple of years that I've really kind of started to, you know, okay, it's fine. This just happens. Like, this is what life is like, even for, you know, like, thinner, healthier individuals. Like, we all have moments where weight might fluctuate a little bit. It doesn't have to be this all or nothing cycle, what a yo-yo cycle all the time, freaking out all the time, binging, restricting all the time. You know, it has taken me a long time to get to where I am now. And another thing that I have learned along that way, which I feel like you guys have kind of touched on already, is shifting your mindset to, for myself personally, I don't allow myself anymore to think like, oh, what if I'm going back to old ways? Like, what if my old self is creeping? No, there is no old me. This is me personally. This is what I use for my mindset, but I have had to completely let that possibility go. That's not a possibility for me anymore. That person does not exist anymore. I have tried to shift my mindset and do fully stepping into this new, and it's not even so much a new lifestyle for me anymore, but who I am now. This is who I am now. There is no going back. And so, you know, changing your identity. I think it's important to put in work into changing your identity, the way you talk about yourself, the way you think about yourself, the way you think about your future self. Yes, atomic habits, there you go. So I don't allow, and again, that took time. This isn't something I was able to do it 1.5 years out, 2 years out. But at this point in my journey, I no longer allow myself to think of like, oh, what if I'm falling back on old habits? No, those don't exist anymore. I have my current habits, and if I'm not on top of my current habits, then, well, shoot, I need to get back on top of my current habit. Like, that's all it is. So,
and what I think is so powerful about your story, Michaela, for us that are not 5 years out, is that you are the living example. We can take our time. We are allowed to take time to figure things out, because time and our happy, healthy weight are possible. And I think we get in this thing of like, oh my God, I only have a year, and if I screw this up in a year, then I'm done. Not true at all. I mean, you guys, we need to maintain our weight for 7 years before we get to single digit regain. 7 years. We got time. And Michaela is living proof that we are allowed to take this time to figure it out in little baby steps. That's powerful. That's huge. That's a huge mindset shift for us. It means that 40 pounds, 10 pounds, 3 years, don't matter. Doesn't matter. We have the time. I hate to do this. If you guys probably can't believe it. We are almost at an hour. This happens every time. Michaela, we got to nothing when it comes to movement basics. I am so flippin' sorry, but I think everybody appreciates what you shared just as much as what you would have shared. Am I right, friends?
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I talk and I'm sorry.
That's literally why you're here, to talk. So you are the fountain of knowledge that we all seek to fill our refillable cups with, because that's exactly what we need. You guys, I want to leave us with this thought. I think I'm sharing my screen. Natalie said it months ago. It cannot be more true. If the new you doesn't show up, the old you will. And as much as we love and appreciate our old self, we are here for our new self. So even if you can do one thing to show up for your new self today, you're doing the work. You are doing the work. I wanted to pass along, sorry, Michaela. Oh gosh, you guys, I'm telling you, here are some resources that we highly recommend. They're kind of geared more towards movement, which we didn't really talk about, but if you guys know, James Clear, my future second husband, wrote a book called Atomic Habits. All of your answers live in this book. It's our #1 recommendation. This is also a phenomenal book, you guys. Regain, Be Gone. I haven't made myself all the way through it. A wonderful resource. If you want to learn about movement from a perspective that is not hardcore, highly recommend this book, The Joy of Movement. And I can send you all of these as well. In October, you guys are always the first to know this, our support focus is shifting as it does every month. And our theme, we're very excited about this, is let's get spooky, because it's October, right? So we're gonna dive into all the things that kind of give us the spook after weight loss surgery. Regain, maintenance, cravings, partying after weight loss surgery. These are all of the topics for the podcast, and our VBM is gonna focus on regain and maintenance. And it is gonna be action-packed. Our expert guests are amazing. So we don't need to be spooked out about stuff after bariatric surgery, because literally we're gonna deep dive into it there. And I'll make sure that I send you guys. I'll make sure that this presentation is up. If you would like to help East to West grow, we would love it and appreciate it. If you value this type of support, we want to continue it, and we continue it by growing. So you can share our content in social media, you can participate, continue to come to these things, continue to come to our lives, let people know that this is not scary, right? That this is a really cool place for support. And if you would like to support East to West every month, you can become a patron. You can literally help us keep the Zoom lights on. And we like to thank you with special meetups and AMAs and very unique opportunities. We have very big things in the works, you guys. Michaela, a lot of you guys know of what is coming. But we are able to do that because of our patrons. So there you go. Thank you so much, you guys, for attending. We do have a couple minutes left. I'm happy to hang out here. If Michaela has a couple minutes, maybe she can hang out. Is there anything for the good of the order? Are you guys leaving today with what you were hoping to get out of it? see thumbs up, heads shaking. This is a very difficult thing to talk about. You guys are very brave. Not only are we brave because we went through bariatric surgery, but you're brave because you clicked a Zoom link and you said, I'm missing something and I need some help. That's really hard to do. Because as humans, we think we have it all figured out. I'm here to tell you, we don't. I'm the first one to say, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm trying. Yeah, oh yeah, Jason, you too. Yeah, both of us, we don't know what the hell we're doing. We have each other, and we're here to figure it out.
Definitely.
Anything for the good of the order, you guys? You're welcome to say whatever you'd like to say.
I'll end it real quick with since we were going to talk about movement, this is just the one quick thing I'm going to say. Remember, movement is movement. So like, I'm struggling right now with my routine. I'm struggling with motivation right now. You know, when I get like this, again, this is a very fitting topic, back to basics. I strip it back to the basics. I strip it back to, maybe I can't get myself in the CrossFit gym right now, but I can still go for a 30-minute walk every day. I can still get in like a fun, maybe like a fun cardio session or something like that, or a yoga flow. So just trying to keep up that movement routine, even if I don't have the like mental capacity right now to put forth, you know, the effort that I usually do. I don't have the energy or the capacity. So it doesn't always have to be perfect. It doesn't always have to be pretty. Just keep yourself moving. That's the most important thing for our mental health, our physical health, emotional health, all of it. Just keep moving. And yeah, movement is movement. That's all I was going to say.
Thank you, friend. Aurelis, I know you wanted to say something. I saw you on mute. Yeah.
The only thing I can say is trusting yourself too soon is sticking to me. I think Michaela said that earlier. And that's really sticking to me because I feel like I'm in a stage where I'm trusting. I feel like I've been trusting myself and being like, I got this. I'm winning, you know, but I think I'm trusting myself a little too soon. And that's why I think I'm here today with the back to basics. But I hadn't heard that and I felt it. So it kind of resonated when she said that earlier.
Oh, I love it, right? Because we're all in different places, right? We either need to trust ourselves more or we need to go, maybe I have evidence that says I probably shouldn't, which is right where I am, Fred. You know that. I figured out I could not trust myself with my food choices. Well, I need to take away that trust and I need to give it to Berry Box.
But it's good that both of you guys actually were conscious enough to make those decisions and figure out that it was a problem and find solutions for them. So that already shows you that you're doing better now than you would have done before, because before you wouldn't have done that. You would have talked yourself right out of it and gone right back to what you know doing, which did not serve you in the way that it should. So The fact that you guys have made these the better decisions, and April's turned it over to Berry Box, and Aurelis, you're making some changes too. So these things, I mean, it all shows. Those are small wins in itself that need to be applauded, and that's why I say when you give yourself, you know, you need to celebrate that stuff because it is a big deal. That's stuff that we wouldn't have done before. So,
yep, we are smart people. Do not talk yourself out of that. We are smart people. I was about to say women. Sorry, Jason and Rob, you two are smart, but I mean, collectively, we all know. Like, okay,
me and Rob are smart and pretty. Damn it.
I will give that to you both, my friends.
We're beautiful, fragile butterflies. Damn it, you will treat us as such.
If that's what you want, I shall acquiesce. We cannot thank you so much for coming tonight, you guys. We very much appreciate your support. We appreciate your honesty. We appreciate your humor, your humility, and your willingness to try. You are the best part of our community. So thank you for coming. You're free to stay on. We'll hang out for a couple minutes. I'll make sure I get the recording posted. We are here to support you. Just let us know how we can help.